Hi, I'm Williams. I'm from North Wales, in Snowdonia, near a little village called Betsacoed. I've been living in London for about a year and a half now, studying a part-time Masters in Environmental and Sustainable Development in UCL. I previously worked in renewable energy development, mainly in wind energy, but it kind of went all downhill when the Tories came into power and kind of collapsed the industry overnight, well, especially in small and medium wind. So I decided to diversify what I was doing and decided to go into development, which kind of works for social justice in the global south. And I want to concentrate my research through using renewable energy technologies as a way to fight for social justice. The transformation from a socialist state to a market-led economy on energy poverty in Skopje. What is an art collector? I suppose it depends on how you define art. Art is relative, as one object could be a beautiful piece of art for one person, but it could be useless to someone else. So an art collector could be anyone who decides to improve their space with objects that reflects or expresses them in some sort of way and may give them some sort of emotional response. So an art collector is a broad term for me. First moved to London, I lived in a flat by myself, which was my first time ever living by myself, and I really enjoyed it. It allowed me to completely design the space that I lived in to my kind of design, I suppose, or to my likes. And then my sister and mother decided to study a course in London, and a bit out of their comfort zone, and to save a bit of money, we decided to all live together. And we've had a beautiful house, luckily, but it's a temporary house. We've only got it for about 6-7 months. So I suppose we initially thought we'd design the space as a temple space, so with not very expensive furniture or not too much, not particularly designed to how we would have it in a permanent home. But I suppose we've got some key items which we brought from home or that we've always had, which kind of allows the space to still reflect us. We've got some key pieces of art, which, being a family from Snowdonia in North Wales, seems to be heavily based around Welsh landscapes. One of the key artists that we seem to have down here is Matthew Snowden, which uses a palette knife with oil, similar to Cuffin, but he's more of an up-and-coming artist, and he's kind of exploding at the moment, I think. He's becoming very popular. Because it's a shared home and it's been such a quick process for everyone to move in together, and it's such a temporal time period, that it's a very intense mix of all of our characters in the communal spaces. But it's worked out quite well. I suppose I don't have a particular style. I suppose some key items might define my style. The history of Wales in one item, I suppose the history of me in another, which is a collection of items throughout my life. So they're all, I suppose, a personal reflection of me. So for me, it may be classified as a piece of art because it gives me some sort of emotional response. But to someone else, my collection of small items might just be pointless objects. So the whole space, so the only space I have which is mine is my bedroom. And I suppose you could say that the space as a whole is a piece. I'm on a bach and fluffy. No?
No.
You could say the space as a whole is a piece of art, because it's an expression of me. It's constructed to my liking, and it's constructed to my emotional response, I suppose, to how I want to design it. Because I actively have made an effort to make it a space which makes me feel comfortable, which makes me feel happy, as I believe it's an incredibly important thing to build spaces for yourselves. So this is a key item, which is a map of Wales and the stories of mythological stories of around the 7th, 8th century in Wales. Each different location has got a different little story, and it was the spoken stories. They weren't written down until around the 12th century, which is a key piece of literature called the Mabinogion. This is a painting I got from my mother when I was around 1920. For me it symbolises youth. I got it around 8 years ago when I was probably around the same age as her in the painting. And I think it's quite nice but also quite sad that she stays the same age whilst I'm always getting older. This is quite nice. I got it from Camden Market in London, and it's a picture of Llanrwst, the town where I'm from, in the 18th century, and it was when the railway station first came to Llanrwst. I thought it was quite a lovely thing to find in London about home. Collections of items which have come throughout my whole life. I've got their own little stories. This is from when I worked for the Green Party during the last general election. This is from when I was about 16. I think it's an old chess piece. This is a present I got from my mum when I went on my travels, so I wouldn't get lost, which is quite cute. This little piece is from when I did my undergraduate engineering degree. I believe I am an art collector. Well, if I follow the definition I said in the beginning, that anyone could be an art collector, as an art collector could be anyone who decides to try and improve their space through objects or things that creates some sort of expression or some sort of emotional response. So with that definition, I most definitely think I am an art collector. Girlfriend for my birthday. This is a very extravagant scarf. I am very excited to see your models and your response to my space and my perception, I suppose, as I know what it reflects to me, but it's going to be quite interesting to see what that reflects for other people.